Okay, so you're hoping to land that vocational teacher position right. We're diving deep today into how to make that interview process a breeze.
Like prepping beforehand so there are no surprises.
Exactly. And you've given us a ton of material to work with.
Notes, articles, maybe even some panicked last-minute thoughts.
Yeah, we're going to take all of that and help you craft a winning interview strategy.
And we'll be pulling in some great advice from RoleCatcher, too.
Their guide and their AI tools can really give you an edge.
For sure. Okay, so first things first. What exactly makes a vocational teacher different from other teaching roles?
Well, it's more than just standing at the front of the classroom.
Way more. You're not just teaching a subject.
Right, you're giving students practical skills.
Skills and the mindset to succeed in a specific trade or profession.
So think hands-on experience, real-world problem solving,
And don't forget those essential soft skills.
teamwork communication, critical thinking.
Yes. And speaking of real-world experience, the RoleCatcher Guide really emphasizes getting that practical experience before you even apply.
Like internships, apprenticeships,
Even volunteer work in your chosen field?
it can give you a huge advantage in the interview.
Absolutely. Shows initiative, genuine interest.
You're willing to go the extra mile.
Plus, you gain valuable insights and connections you can talk about during the interview.
So we've got the big picture now. Let's get down to those interview questions.
The make it or break it moments.
Almost every interview starts with the classic, tell us about your experience teaching vocational courses.
Seems straightforward, but it's your chance to shine.
Show off your passion, your skills, what makes you uniquely qualified.
Exactly. So instead of just listing the places you've taught and the courses you've led,
How can we make that answer stand out?
by telling a story.
I guess a story.
Think of a specific anecdote that highlights your teaching style, your ability to engage students, and the positive impact you had.
I like that. Do you have any tips for crafting a good story for this question?
Remember the PAR method.
PR.
Stands for problem action result.
Okay, I'm following you.
So let's say you're applying to teach automotive technology.
Okay.
You could start by describing a situation where a student was struggling to grasp a complex engine repair concept.
Okay.
Then outline the steps you took to help, maybe using visual aids, hands-on demonstrations, or even pairing them with a more advanced peer.
And then?
Finally, highlight the positive outcome the student mastered the concept and gained confidence.
Much more compelling than just saying, I taught engine repair for 5 years.
Right. It brings your experience to life and showcases your problem-solving skills.
This is where RoleCatcher's AI can be a game changer.
I was just thinking that their platform analyzes job descriptions and suggests relevant keywords and skills to weave into your answers.
Like a personalized cheat sheet.
Exactly. Okay, now what about those follow-up questions?
Oh yeah, they might dig deeper into your teaching methods.
Or ask about a time you had to adapt your approach for a specific student.
So we need to be ready for anything.
Have a few more anecdotes prepared that show off your flexibility, your empathy, and your ability to meet diverse student needs.
And again, RoleCatcher's AI can help you analyze those anecdotes.
Make sure you're highlighting the most relevant skills and insights.
Amazing. Okay, so we've nailed the opening question.
What's next?
How about, how do you assess student progress?
Ah, another classic. And remember, in vocational teaching, it's not just about written tests.
You need to show how you evaluate practical skills, real-world application.
And those all-important soft skills we talked about earlier.
Right. So highlight your use of a variety of methods.
Practical assessments, observation of skills in action.
Feedback from industry mentors if you have those connections.
Excellent. And speaking of industry connections, the RoleCatcher Guide really emphasizes the importance of networking in this field.
Attending industry events, joining professional associations, building relationships with experts.
It can enhance your teaching and show your commitment to staying current.
Okay, so what if they ask, how do you stay current with the latest trends and developments in your vocational field?
Don't just list courses or conferences you've attended.
Give specific examples of how you've applied what you've learned.
Did you attend a workshop on a new software program and then incorporate it into your lessons?
Or learn about a cutting-edge technique and share with your students.
Exactly. Concrete examples demonstrate that you're actively integrating new knowledge into your practice.
This reminds me of another key point from the RoleCatcher Guide.
What's that?
Understanding career pathways in vocational education.
Right. It's not just about teaching in the classroom.
There are opportunities for advancement.
Leadership roles, specialized certifications, curriculum development.
So interviewers want to see that you're thinking long-term.
That you're ambitious and invested in growing your career within vocational education.
Should we explicitly mention our career goals?
You don't have to announce your 5-year plan.
Okay.
But you can subtly demonstrate your awareness of career pathways.
How so?
For example, by highlighting your interest in curriculum development or mentioning your involvement in professional organizations.
It shows you're not just looking for a job, you're looking for a career.
Exactly, a career path where you can contribute and grow.
We've covered a lot in this first section, but there's still plenty of questions to unpack.
In the next part, we'll tackle those challenging questions about classroom management, dealing with difficult students, and promoting inclusivity in your teaching.
And we'll explore how RoleCatcher's AI can help you craft compelling answers that highlight your strengths and address those tricky behavioral scenarios.
Sounds like we're just getting started.
Stick with us, listeners, because we're going even deeper in part 2.
All right, welcome back. Let's jump right back into prepping for that vocational teacher interview.
We talked about experience and passion in part 1.
Right now, we're getting into the nitty-gritty.
The real-world classroom scenarios.
The questions that test your ability to handle the unexpected.
The ones that make you squirm a little, even if you're a seasoned teacher.
Exactly. Like this one, describe a time you adapted your teaching approach for a specific student.
Ooh, yeah, that one's tricky. They don't want a generic answer.
Nope, they want specifics.
How you identify individual needs and come up with creative solutions.
So instead of just saying, I provided extra help,
We need to paint a picture.
a vivid picture.
Mm-hmm.
Think about a student who is struggling,
Oh?
maybe with a particular concept or skill. How did you figure out the root cause of their difficulty?
Did you use a different teaching method?
Break it down into smaller steps.
Or pair them with a peer mentor?
Right. And the interviewer is looking for more than just a quick fix.
They want to see genuine empathy.
A commitment to student success. You need to showcase your ability to build relationships
Create a supportive learning environment.
and go the extra mile for your students.
This reminds me of the term differentiated instruction from the RoleCatcher Guide.
Oh, that's a great connection. It's all about recognizing that students learn in different ways.
And tailoring your approach to meet those individual needs.
Shows you're familiar with best practices and committed to creating an inclusive learning environment.
Where all students can thrive.
Yes. Okay, so what if they follow up with, can you give me another example of a time you had to invest your teaching style for a specific student?
Do we need a whole bunch of anecdotes ready to go?
It's always good to have a few compelling stories in your back pocket.
Stories that highlight your flexibility and your ability to connect with diverse learners.
And don't forget, RoleCatcher's AI can help you analyze those anecdotes.
Make sure you're emphasizing the most relevant skills and insights.
Like having a personal editor for your interview responses. Okay, let's move on to a question that often trips people up.
Oh, which one?
How do you handle difficult or disruptive students in your classroom?
Classroom management. That's a big one.
This is where you demonstrate your calm demeanor, your classroom management skills, and your ability to de-escalate challenging situations.
No yelling, no losing your cool.
Absolutely not. Start by emphasizing a proactive approach. Talk about establishing clear expectations and routines from day one.
Create a positive and respectful learning environment.
And use positive reinforcement to encourage good behavior.
It's all about setting the tone from the start.
Right. Creating a culture of mutual respect. Then you can talk about specific strategies for dealing with disruptive behavior.
Like what?
Redirecting attention using nonverbal cues, having a private conversation with the student, or involving parents or counselors if necessary.
Could we give an example?
Sure, like I had a student who was constantly talking out of turn. I tried various strategies, and eventually what worked best was having a one-on-one conversation with them to understand what was driving their behavior.
Perfect. A real-life example shows you've actually dealt with these situations.
And that you have effective strategies for managing them.
It also highlights those soft skills we keep talking about.
Communication, empathy, problem solving.
All essential in any teaching role, but especially in vocational settings.
Where you're preparing students for the real world of work. Which brings us back to the RoleCatcher Guide.
Aligning your skills with the job requirements.
Their AI tools can analyze job descriptions and suggest relevant keywords and skills to emphasize in your answers.
So it's not just about having the experience, it's about presenting it the right way.
Exactly. Okay, ready for another tough one.
Hit me with it.
How do you ensure your vocational courses are accessible and inclusive for all students?
This is where we show our commitment to equity and diversity in education.
Creating a learning environment where all students feel welcome, respected, and supported.
Regardless of their background, learning style, or ability.
Right, so it's not just about physical accessibility.
We need to think about learning styles, cultural backgrounds, language barriers.
All of that. Talk about your strategies for differentiating instruction, providing accommodations using inclusive language, and fostering a classroom culture that values diversity.
And celebrates individual differences.
Yes, a real-life example would be powerful here.
Like what?
Maybe you had a student with a learning disability, and you worked with them to create an individualized learning plan.
Or you noticed a student being excluded from group activities, and you stepped in to create a more welcoming and inclusive environment.
Exactly. Show them you're committed to inclusivity in action, not just in theory.
The RoleCatcher Guide has some good resources on this too.
They do. They offer tips on creating inclusive learning environments.
It's clear they go beyond just interview prep.
They offer a holistic approach to career development in vocational education.
Okay, we've tackled some tough topics. Classroom management, inclusivity. What other challenges might come up in the interview?
They might ask about dealing with a conflict between students, a parent complaint, or even a safety issue in the classroom.
So we need to show our ability to handle unexpected situations.
With professionalism, composure, and a focus on student well-being, it's not just about knowing the right answers.
It's about good judgment problem-solving skills, staying calm under pressure.
Exactly. And remember, RoleCatcher's AI can help you practice responding to these challenging scenarios.
Giving feedback on your tone, your body language, your overall communication.
Like a virtual simulation of the interview itself.
I'm feeling much more prepared to handle those curveball questions now.
That's great. In the final part, we'll explore questions about your long-term career vision and how you can make a lasting impact in vocational education.
We'll also share some final tips to help you nail that interview and land your dream job.
Sounds like a plan.
Don't miss it, listeners. We're back with more insights in Part 3. And we're back for the final part of our vocational teacher interview prep deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground.
From showcasing your experience to tackling tough classroom scenarios.
Now it's time for the bigger picture.
Your vision for your career and the impact you want to make in vocational education.
This is where we go beyond just answering questions.
Show them your passion, your long-term goals.
One common question in this area is, how do you promote career development and growth for your students?
It's about showing you're not just focused on their classroom success,
but on their future careers.
You want to come across as a mentor, a guide, a champion for their aspirations.
So how do we answer that question?
Highlight any experience you have connecting students with industry mentors, providing career counseling, or organizing workshops on resume writing interview skills, or even entrepreneurship.
And if you haven't had the chance to do all of those things yet,
you can still talk about your philosophy and your approach to career development.
Like how?
Mention your commitment to staying current with industry trends, attending career fairs, or inviting guest speakers from different vocational fields.
To share their experiences with your students.
Exactly. And this ties back to the RoleCatcher Guide's emphasis on lifelong learning and professional development.
They have a great section on advancement paths in vocational education.
From becoming a department head to pursuing specialized certifications.
So you can subtly weave that into your answers.
Mention your interest in curriculum development, leadership roles, or additional training.
It's about showing them you're invested in this field for the long haul.
Not just looking for a job, but a fulfilling career where you can make a difference.
Before we wrap up, any final advice for those prepping for a vocational teacher interview?
Preparation is key. Research the school or organization thoroughly.
Understand their values programs, student population.
It's like tailoring your resume, but for the interview itself.
And practice your answers.
Out loud in front of a mirror with a friend, RoleCatcher's AI can help with this too.
Providing feedback on your clarity, energy, and body language.
And most importantly, believing yourself.
You have valuable skills and experiences to offer.
Let your passion shine through, connect with the interviewers, and show them why you're the perfect fit.
That's great advice. I feel much more prepared to tackle those interviews now.
Remember, it's not just about getting the job, it's about finding the right fit for you.
Well, listeners, that's a wrap on our deep dive into vocational teacher interview prep.
We covered a lot of ground.
From understanding the role to mastering those interview questions.
And showcasing your long-term vision.
You've got valuable skills to offer. Prepare well, believe in yourself, and go out there and ace that interview.
We're rooting for you.
Don't forget to check out the RoleCatcher platform, too.
It's packed with resources for your job search and career development.
A must-have for anyone in vocational education.
That's it for this deep dive.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep into the things that matter to you.